Happy Thanksgiving, my friends. How are you all doing today? I hope you said great. I'm doing great. You can see I have puppies running around all over beside and behind me, and just wanted to check in. You know, this is one of those days that I know a lot of people enjoy getting to celebrate with their family. Some people don't have family, and for some people, watching YouTube and watching us and participating, that's their family. And it's always, you know, a pleasure every year for people to be watching and commenting and living through the adventures with me. And I always try and post something on Thanksgiving, you know, talking about what I'm up to, so people that didn't have somewhere to go, maybe they can live a little bit through me vicariously. And so this year we are with my family in Ohio. That's pretty much what we tend to do every year. You know, it's one of those things that I think, since I am lucky enough, thanks to all of you, that I get to live my dream of just, you know, being self-employed and going out and making videos for a living. The one thing about it is that I've really taken advantage of getting to spend time with my family that I didn't before. And every time at this time of year, whenever I come back and visit for Thanksgiving or Christmas, people always ask, do you think about moving back to Ohio? Does this make you want to go back to Ohio? And you know, it's funny because go through a little bit of the history of my relationship with Ohio. Is that, you know, growing up, it was a fun place to live. It was, but I didn't really know it at the time, but it was very movie-esque. It was like, you know, when Scott Michaels came and visited with me and we went around Troy, he was like, yeah, this is like a city from like an old movie. And it was really cool for that. And then, you know, in 1990, my dad died. And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the world seemed like such a small place to me. And that year, I had gotten Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. And I was, you know, reading the liner notes, reading that they were out in Hollywood. And for some reason, that just became my goal. Was I just wanted to get out of Ohio, and I wanted to see like the big world, the big city. And so that became my goal. My dad, since he passed away, my sister and I got a little bit of an inheritance, and we were both going to put it towards our future. So my sister went to college, and I was going to move out to Hollywood and go to Musicians Institute, which is what I did. Now, before that, I got a job at a hospital, and I was working as often as I could, saving up as much money as I could so that I could make that move. And I remember when I worked there, a woman that I worked with named Carol, who was my manager, she always would say, you know, you're so excited to go, but you mark my words, couple of months, couple of years, you'll want to come back. Everybody always does. Something about Ohio gets into you and you will want to come back. And I said, no, that won't happen to me. I know that won't happen to me. And for years I moved out to Hollywood, and it did not happen to me. And I enjoyed living in Hollywood. I enjoyed the struggle. You know, I moved out there when I was 18, so I didn't really know what the future would hold, but I knew that I thought if I wanted something big to happen, it wasn't going to happen in Troy. Now that turned out maybe not to be the case, because one of my good friends from high school formed a band, and they became really popular out of this town. And they had a hit song called Ohio's for Lovers. They were called Hawthorne Heights. But I chose to, you know, go to Hollywood and live my dream. And as I struggled, one of the things that kind of became a dream of mine was I did decide I wanted to go move back to Ohio at some point in my life. What I wanted to do was I wanted to buy my grandparents' house. My grandmother and grandfather have always lived in the same house. I mean, it was really, this house truly is their house. And the thought of anyone ever moving in there was just something that I could not consider as a reality. And so I set that as a goal, you know, as I tried to be a musician, and then slowly, I don't want to say gave up. It was one day I just felt like, man, everything I wanted to say I've already said, and I don't have the same passion for it. And I got lucky, and I met Shelly Winters at that time, and she just liked my personality and convinced me that, you know, my personality was the way to go. It was really like just me being me, and, you know, trying to do something using that in Hollywood would probably be my best bet. But throughout all that, it was always, how do I someday raise the money to buy my grandfather's house so that I could move there? And It was in 2016 that I started this channel. We started it in August, and to be perfectly honest with you, I thought, you know, I'll never enjoy this for the long haul. I'll do it for a little while, I'll lose interest, it just won't be something that I really enjoy doing. But then as I started to do it, I loved doing it, and every day seeing new people finding the videos and just knowing that there was so much at my fingertips in that town that I could see and share with you guys was such a cool thing that it almost became an obsession to get to go out and find something cool that, not what, you know, for me it wasn't like, I didn't want to find popular stuff. I wanted to find like that random movie you forgot about. I wanted to find that person who you heard like one song from, but you didn't know anything about them. And so I started doing that stuff. And to my surprise, it was probably about a year and a half in, I was starting to make enough money to where I could actually consider doing this for a living. And, hey, relax. So once I started being able to consider that, I started traveling a lot. I travel more and more. The more I would earn, the more I would travel, because I just thought, hey, you know, we got to take advantage of this. And then COVID happened, and we were all kind of forced to be at home and kind of forced to think about, you know, what it was and what we wanted out of our life, and with the circumstances, how we would live it. And one of the things that I had started doing once I started being able to travel was I made it a point to, you know, I had always, you know, on this channel talked about how it was like a dream of mine to go to Cooperstown and the Baseball Hall of Fame with my grandfather. And when I finally got this channel to a point where I could afford to do stuff like that, his traveling days were over. He just said, I can't do that anymore, Jordan. So I'm going to travel through you watching your videos. And that's basically what we've done. But I always made it a point, and always do make it a point, whenever I don't have something planned or scheduled, I come to Ohio, whether you guys see it on video or not, and I visit my family. I spend, whether it's 3 days or a week and a half, I come and hang out and make sure that I get to see them. And throughout that time, you know, all those years, I would, like I said, I would always have this goal. It's like, I have to somehow find enough, or find a way to earn enough to buy this house, so someday that I can retire in my grandparents' house in Ohio. And the wacky thing about all this was that once I finally earned that money and I started coming back and visiting my grandfather all the time, something inside kind of let me know I didn't have to do that. You know, I've always been a person that, even since I was a kid, I like seeing new things. And as I've gotten older and as I've traveled more, I figured one of two things would happen. I figured either I would, A, decide, man, I really miss this one home base that I remember, and I want to go back to that, or I will say, I want to try something different all the time, every couple of years, and I just won't want to go back to any place that I've lived and repeat that. And so that's one of the weird things I've kind of discovered about myself, was that for so many years I just expected that I would want to come back here. And then once I started getting to spend more time with my family and everything, I realized that kind of what it was that was making me feel like I had to have that house was that I in some way felt like I wasn't getting to spend enough time or getting the quality time with my grandfather and my family that I always wanted. And when my grandmother died, I wasn't able to come spend a lot of time. I didn't have the resources to do that, and I was trying to, you know, struggle to get by. And that was something that I always kind of felt like, man, I missed out on the last years of her life, getting to see her and be a part of it. And so now that I've done so much traveling, that's one of those things I think about, and I go, gosh, do I want to eventually end up in his house? And it's like, when I'm there visiting, I realize that is his house, and it's okay for the memories to live on inside me, but me living in there, I don't think would keep the memories alive. And the more I think about it, I actually go, man, I kind of like the idea of a new family getting to make their own memories there. So every year, you know, around Christmas, Thanksgiving, people say, do you ever think about moving back to Ohio? And it's like, I always had, but now I've kind of realized that I think my days in Ohio are just, they're behind me. And I think same thing with California. I don't foresee that I'll ever live in Hollywood or anywhere in California again. I think I just always thrive for a new experience and new things to get to live through. And really, you know, what keeps everyone here is family. And I know that my parents always kind of imagine wanting to go live somewhere else when they retire, and my sister feels the same way and everything. But, you know, for years our family has been in Ohio, so I don't feel the need to anchor his house anymore. Yeah, it's one of those weird things. I never thought I would say that. I always thought that, you know, if the day came where he passed and we were going to have to sell his house or something, I couldn't afford it, I figured I would just be a mess. And, you know, I realized, like I said, something inside me realized that what it really was that I needed to get that quality time while he's alive. And so, yeah, I come back here all the time to get to visit, but yeah, I don't plan on living in Ohio again, but it is fun to come back and visit, especially for holidays. My family in Ohio is really great for the holidays. It's nice to get to see the seasons and everything. So I hope you all, and that's nothing against Ohio, you know. I know a lot of people that have went off and lived their dreams and moved away and went back to where they live, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I just learned about myself that I feel like I will always want to see new things. So hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving. I just thought I would share what was on my mind today, and I hope you all, you know, make the most of it. If you don't have someone, please find a way to give yourself some laughs, put on planes, trains, and automobiles. Heck, even start celebrating Christmas early if that's what it means to bring a smile to your face. But enjoy every minute, and don't feel that you have to, you know, live for someone else or do something that you're expected to. Our life on this earth is so short. Make the most of it, live a happy life, and have a happy Thanksgiving. Goodbye.